Hey there, welcome to this lesson. Now we're going to get practical and I'll show you how to download the jQuery library as well as your development environment in which we're going to be coding up all of the code in this course. So you need a text editor first, and I'm going to be using a text editor called Atom, and you can find that at atom.io. You can choose to use this text editor or any text editor of your choice, such as Notepad++ or Sublime Text, anything that has the ability to highlight the syntax and it's easy to use. So I've already downloaded it here for the Mac. It's available for Windows as well as Unix. So whatever operating system you're using, this should be compatible with it. And currently it's free. Hopefully they'll keep it free. So I've already downloaded it here in my downloads folder. So let's go to downloads, and this is the guy. And let's just go to jQuery, type in jQuery here, and go to their website, and you can just click on download jQuery button. And here we have a few options. You can download the compressed production version, or you can download the uncompressed development version. This is going to be the file that contains readable code. Okay, it's going to be a much larger file than this compressed version, but you don't want to always be using the larger file because it's just going to take a lot more time to load in your browser. So I recommend downloading this, download the compressed version link. Okay, so click on this and that will download the jQuery library. Now remember, what we just downloaded is just a JavaScript file. All right, it's a file that contains a bunch of JavaScript and it's compressed so that it's as small of a file as possible. So when you hear the term library, it's actually a more complex way of referring to just a file that contains a bunch of code. Okay, so let me show you how you can use this file in your project and get going with jQuery. Now the source code that you download as part of this course already has this jQuery file nicely configured into the folder, and the files are linked together so you can get up and running. But in this lesson, I want you to go through the exercise of setting up a typical jQuery project up yourself. Okay, and I'm going to walk you through that process. So it's important to try that on your own and follow along with me to set that up. And then the rest of this course, you can just use the source code that I've provided to work on the different jQuery assignments. So once that's done downloading, we're going to open that file up in a text editor. So I'm going to be using Atom for this, and let me just close all of these windows. We don't really need that. And then I'm going to go File. But before we do that, let me go to the place where I've downloaded all of the source code for this course. So if we go to I have it downloaded in Documents. You can have it downloaded wherever you want, but there are going to be two folders for this course. One of them is going to be called jQuery Assignments, and the other one is going to be called jQuery Tutorials. Every lesson will have an accompanied source code with it. So if you click here, these are so far the lessons that I've completed. So for this lesson, just to show you how everything is set up, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'm going to call it jQuery Tutorial N to represent, just any number. So this is going to be the way a typical jQuery project in this course is set up. And I'm going to go in here and paste the file that we downloaded, the jQuery file. So that was actually in downloads. That's this guy right here. So I'm going to copy this file, and then I'm going to paste it in this jQuery tutorial N folder. Okay. And this is that file. As a matter of fact, I'm going to create a new folder, and we're going to call it JS. This folder is going to contain all of our JavaScript code. So let me just copy that and paste it here in this folder. And I'm going to just borrow a particular file from one of these other lessons. Let me just copy this HTML document because it has all of the tags already set up. So I'm going to paste that here as well. So now that I've created this project, all right, this is going to be a typical setup for all the other lessons. Let me close this folder, and now I can just open that project by going to File, Open, and it's called jQuery Tutorial N. So let's open that and notice that it has loaded this project in our workspace here. So this is the HTML document, right? Index.html, and this is the jQuery code. Not important to go over it right now. And then in this JS folder, we have this jQuery, minified jQuery. You're going to notice that there are some other, if you're using the Mac, you're going to see that there's this .ds store. These are hidden files, and some operating systems have these hidden files and some don't. But this has nothing to do with jQuery or this course. So we're going to hide these files from this text editor. Okay, this is sort of just a Mac thing. If you're using Windows or some other operating system, you probably won't even see this .ds store. So let me show you how you can get rid of that if you're using the Mac. You go to Atom and then click on Preferences and go to Packages. These are the packages that have already been installed in this editor, and I'm going to search for something called Tree. And that's this guy right here, Tree View. This represents the display that you see here. So go to Settings, and we want to hide ignored names. All right, these are hidden files. So I'm just gonna hide those files. All right, this is the thing you want to click on, hide ignored names. It's under Packages, under Tree View package. You want to click on this hide ignored names, and notice that those files disappear. Okay, so you can just click close there. And now we have the files of concern here. Again, you'll only need to worry about that annoyance if you're using the Atom text editor with the Mac operating system. Okay, if you're using some other text editor, you probably won't see that ds store file. So just keep that in mind. So this is the typical HTML document. Notice it has a head tag, and then the body, and then the divs and paragraph tags. You should already be familiar with the basics of HTML. And inside of this script tags, right, from here down to here, this is the JavaScript section. Okay, so on a given web page, we can put JavaScript, and we have to surround the JavaScript or the jQuery in this case with these script tags. So this is actually jQuery. All right, yours may look different depending on which file you copied. And the first thing we're doing here is loading up the jQuery file. Okay, it's in the JS folder. So in this JS folder, we have this jQuery 3.1.1 .min.js. Okay, that's the current version that we downloaded. It's in the JS folder, and we have, this is actually a comment. If you want a comment code in HTML, you should already be familiar with this. You put an exclamation point and then these two dashes here. For now, let me just get rid of that. It's just extra code that we don't need. So we're loading the file here, and this is the jQuery file, and then we have jQuery code in this section. Okay, we want to make sure that we put jQuery code towards the bottom of this document. All of the HTML code, all of the different tags and the structure of the HTML document should be before this jQuery stuff. Okay, so that is why I'm loading the jQuery on the bottom here, after all the HTML elements. Since this is a large file, it might take time for this to load. So if you have this on top, we don't want the web page to be loading because this thing is not done loading yet. We want to put that all the way to the bottom, and any jQuery code, we want to make sure that it's to the bottom of the page, because this acts on the different elements of the HTML page. And if those elements are not available yet, right, if the DOM is not done loading, then something like this is not going to work. So all jQuery code, just keep in mind, should be towards the bottom of the HTML page, right before the closing body tag. That's where you should be loading your scripts. My preferred route of jQuery is to separate the jQuery code in a different file, right? Not on the HTML page, but in a different file. So what we could do is I'm going to right click here and go to New File, and I'm going to create a file called fadeout.js. And I'm going to copy this code because this code actually fades out the content in this page. So not important to go over what this means just yet. I'm going to copy that code and paste it in this file, and we can just close it. So this file now is in the JS folder, okay? And the HTML, this is outside of the JS folder. This is in the jQuery tutorial N folder, all right? So let me get rid of all of this other code. We don't need that here. So right now we're loading up the jQuery library. Now since I removed that jQuery code and I pasted it into this fadeout.js separate file, we need to link both of these files together. We need to link the HTML document with this fadeout.js file. So how do we link it? Well, we do the same exact thing that we're doing here. Right now we're saying that the jQuery that we need is located in JS folder, and this is the name of that file. So I'm going to just copy this and paste it down here. Remember, right before the closing body tag, this is the standard that's used in the industry, so I want you to follow that. And instead of loading jQuery, we're going to be loading fadeout.js. That's the file name, fadeout.js, just like that. So now if you want to see how this looks in the browser, all you have to do is navigate over to that folder where we have this index.html. That's going to be in my documents, and go to jQuery tutorials, and it's this guy right here, jQuery tutorial N. So click on that, and this is the HTML document that we are working on here. So let me double click this, and that will open up our browser, and this is our HTML document. All right, if I click on each one of these, it's fading these paragraphs. All right, and that's exactly what this fadeout.js does. It looks for the paragraph tags on the web page, and then if a user clicks, it performs this particular function, and it's basically fading out in 1000 milliseconds. So it takes 1000 milliseconds or 1 second to fade out each paragraph. Okay, we're going to get into plenty of detail about what exactly this code does and how to code it, but I just wanted to show you that you can take jQuery, put it in a different file, link that file into your index.html document, and all of the other source code in this course is structured in this similar way. Now, just to prove that jQuery is in fact working, if I comment out this line, you can press Control and then the /, and that will comment or uncomment the particular line in this editor, and most editors do support this commenting. So of course, when you comment it out, it adds this exclamation point with the 2 dashes here. So this line is commented out. That means it's not going to be loaded. So now, if I go back to the browser and I load that file again, the paragraphs are there. If I click on each one of these, nothing is happening. Okay? Because we're not loading up jQuery. So this is a test to make sure that your jQuery, you have the right file and you have it saved properly in the right folder. This should be the test that you want to run when you're setting up your development environment. So let me uncomment that and save the file, and now refresh the page, and now you can click on this and jQuery is in action. All right, so let's go back here. This is the file that contains the logic to be able to fade these different paragraphs out. So if I comment out this line, do you think it's going to work? Or when we click on these different paragraphs on the web page, are they going to fade out? Of course not, right? Because that logic is in this fadeout.js. So let's test that out real quick. I'm going to refresh the page here, and I've saved this file here, and I refresh the page. So when I click on each one of these paragraphs, it's not going to fade out because that logic is not going to load for this page. It's commented out. Now if I copy this code and I put it into the script tag like this of course is going to work. Let's go back to the page, refresh the page, and notice that the jQuery code is working. Okay, so this page is able to recognize that in the script tag we have jQuery code here, and the reason for that is because we're of course loading this file. If I comment this file out, it's not going to know that this is jQuery code. I've saved this page. I've went back to the browser. I refreshed the page. Notice that none of these are fading out because I've commented out the jQuery code. So we need this library at all times to do any jQuery code, whether we do it in this file or some other file. And it's in pretty much every single folder that you download as part of this course. So let me get rid of that and let me uncomment out this line so that this code can be used in this index.html document. So hopefully that gives you a good overview as to how the code is structured in this course. Now, certain lessons I may have CSS files. So for that, I might create a new folder here called CSS. And in the CSS folder, I might have CSS documents. And to load CSS documents, we're going to go over that a little later, but you should already know that as part of HTML. We're going to have a similar sort of thing like this to load the CSS, except instead of source, it's just going to be a href link. But anyway, this is the general structure for all of our projects. Make sure you download a text editor of your choice. I like Atom. And also try to set up your own development environment by creating your own folders and creating a sample HTML document like this, and make sure that your jQuery is working. The source code of this course contains this wiring of the jQuery code, but I want you to go through the exercise of setting it up yourself, downloading the jQuery file yourself, and coding up some sample jQuery to test it out. Okay, and you could just copy the same code that I have here on the screen as part of your exercise. All right, so let's wrap up this lesson here. In the next lesson, I'm going to start going over the basics of the jQuery syntax. So thanks for watching. I'll see you soon.